To go live, Jobber. Hey, we're live. This is Pro Wrestling or Pro Madness podcast. I already messed up.
What's the title of our show, Jesus?
Pro Wrestling Podcast. This is our 6th episode. I am back from being out on assignment. I learned a lot of stuff while I was gone. Canada has one of the worst setups for the WWE network, and it makes me really appreciate the over-the-top in the United States. But here we're going to talk about Extreme Rules 2015 and run down the card that I think looks dismal. But here, with me today, I have the beloved Chris Daria.
Hi, I'm Chris Daria, and I want to say hello to all of our PMSers out there. I'd like to say hello, but I'm not going to because that's pandering, and we don't allow pandering at the Shack of Good Stuff, which is just outside of the Palace of Wisdom. There you go. There you go. Yes, I couldn't get into the Palace of Wisdom, so I set up my own Shack of Good Stuff right outside of it. It's a little shanty. It's all I need. And yes, we are here on the Perfect Madness Wrestling Podcast. Apparently that's what we're called. I have to figure out the name of that. So there we go.
Shut up.
As long as you know the name of it by the end, we're done. By the time we're done.
PerfectMadnessWrestling.com. Perfect Madness Podcast. It is what
Either way.
I'm rusty. It's been 2 weeks.
You've been off on assignment. And I'd like to say, before we get going, you might notice that there's someone missing, or you might not if you didn't care about him to begin with. But Adam Eaton is currently on the injured reserve list. Apparently he took a straight RKO to the face. He didn't take the bump right, unfortunately, landed on his ass. I don't know how you do that with an RKO. But he's out on commission, he's out on injury leave, and we would like you all to send us postcards for a get well drive that we're doing for Mr. Eaton, just to make sure that he knows that you guys don't care. So there you
go. We are raising donations for him to get a Z-Pack so he can return.
We're gonna Z-Pack him. He'll get one for every donation. He will receive 3,000 Z-Packs.
Oh God.
And then he will defecate himself, and we will laugh.
He'll defecate himself mid-podcast. Go underneath the computer.
Change. Wipe himself off with a dirty turnbuckle cover.
Oh, that's terrible.
It'll be great. It'll be just great. All right.
Okay.
After all of
that just went south quick. Oh.
Yeah. Getting dirty in a hurry. Got to go down before you can go up.
Let's jump into the card because
all right. Before we do, can I just say something real fast before we do? I have a feeling that this podcast is going to be overwhelmingly negative, so I want to talk about something good that happened for the podcast a couple of days ago before we get into what I'm calling Jesus' hate-filled rage machine. So I had the fortune, as some fans might know, some of our listeners might know, I'm a big fan of a certain independent wrestling promotion called Chikara, based out of Philadelphia, great promotion. And there is a lot of great fan support from this organization. They call themselves the Chikarmy. A member of that, if you are too, raise up. And one member of the Chikarmy, her name is Babs Chikara, has a podcast called Chikara in 15 Minutes or Less, where she reports on all the things that are happening with the promotion for those of us who are not in the Northeast area anymore and can't get to see the shows regularly. And one of the things that she's recently started doing is a kind of a chat with the fans program called Chatting with the Chikarmy, where she talks about with fans of the program to kind of get their opinions on wrestling, opinions on Chikara, find out more about how they became fans of all of it. And I had the pleasure of doing it. And I had the pleasure of getting on the podcast with Babs. It was a great conversation. Like pretty much all of our conversations that I've had on this show and other shows, it went a little long, so I'm sorry for that. But we had a good time just chatting, dishing about facets of the sport that we love, not just Chikara, but all over wrestling. And you can find it by searching Chikara in 15 Minutes or Less on Stitcher or Podomatic. She's on both of those. And you can look for it. It says Chatting with the Chikarmy episode 2. It's got my name right there. Definitely take a look at it. And Well, I think that it's a really cool thing, and definitely she does a lot of really cool things, especially for folks who are trying to get interested in this independent wrestling brand. So definitely take a listen to it, and I'm very proud of it. So fantastic. That's
I
my cheap
will.
plug for the day.
Fair enough, and I'll try to once we upload this on YouTube, I'll try to put the info for that in the doop to do below, and maybe make a little page on the website so people can go find that easier as well.
Well, I appreciate that, and I know Babs will as well. So thanks about that, Jesus.
You're
Thanks for
welcome.
getting up on that doop de doop. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
the doop de doop. All
Explain
right.
Chikara. What happened to them? Like, I'm not quite up on their history. If you want to talk about that, or we can jump right in. But
Well, I can just say that Chikara is an independent wrestling show that I think it's one of the best independent wrestling companies for quality family entertainment, for long form storytelling, and for pretty seamless and legitimate comedy that they throw into their matches. I think they do a great job. It's very out there. It definitely can be an acquired taste to some people. They also try to blend as many wrestling styles as possible. You'll see some lucha libre. You'll see some Japanese puroresu. You'll see British catch can style. You'll see American style. You'll see 80s style wrestling. You'll see all of that in his company, depending on who's in the ring and who's working. And they do a great job of really blending that all together. And I mean, there's been a lot of great people that have come from that have worked with that company that are currently in the WWE right now. People like Cesaro used to be a stronghold with that company. People like Daniel Bryan has worked with them before. Independent standouts like Colt Cabana has been there. There's just been all sorts, and it's a great organization. They interject a lot of interesting comedy into their matches. I've seen matches devolve into a baseball game. I've seen people trash talk using old video game titles. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen what I'm talking about. And a gentleman by the name of Delirious went on a tirade against the Super Smash Brothers, and that's a legit tag team name, the Super Smash Brothers, and it's fantastic. I've seen matches devolve into dance parties, better dance parties than the WWE will put on. I've seen abdominal stretches where they get the entire fans to grab hold of the person next to them and really stretch them out. So they interject a lot of really fun stuff in there, and they always try to keep it very nice. And they're also really good at doing storytelling. Some of the stories going on right now have been in the works and have been building since about 2007, 2008. So they definitely know how to do long form storytelling and keep people engaged with it. So I think it's a great company, ChikaraPro.com, to check them out. There's a fan forum, Chikara 101, if you want to get more involved and kind of see what's going on there. All the wrestlers, all the performers have Twitters too. It's a cool little group, and it's a lot of fun. It's definitely gained some traction over the years. So that's my cheap little pop for Chikara. So enjoy yourselves, people.
Didn't they go away for a little bit? I thought they were on the ropes.
One of their biggest storylines, one of their biggest things that they tried, something really cool, was this storyline where they were owned by a conglomerate, a sort of overarching organization, and it was revealed that this organization did not have the most family-friendly or good intentions. They were downright evil, I'll say. And after something got exposed during one of their biggest shows of the year, the company shut the organization down, canceled all the shows, and moved everything away. And one of the performers on the show, a gentleman by the name of Icarus, who before that had been the least liked and most hated wrestler in the company, started rallying fan support and wrestler support to get the show to come back. They started offshoots of the company, kept springing up and kept getting shut down by villains of the company's past. And they all formed together to try to take it all down. And the fan support that Icarus got would not let it happen. So they reopened their doors officially in May of 2014 and waged war with the group called the Flood that tried to bring them down. Finally won the war in December and are now back in full force. So it's been a nice storyline. They're willing to do some things and to take on some storytelling ideas that companies don't do. And the company legitimately shut their doors for about a year in order to pull this off. So they weren't making money. They weren't doing anything. They weren't putting on shows, releasing any content over the web, over DVD, anything like that. It all was completely down. Their website even shut down too. So I just think the commitment to that is to be commended. And you get that same level of commitment every time someone steps foot in the ring. No one is slacking on their gimmick. No one's slacking on their skills. Everyone knows their part and plays it really well.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, then I think you might have sold me on checking it out. I just finally found a way for me to find Lucha Underground, so I'm slowly getting up with wrestling.
Yeah, there's a lot of new stuff going on, and I think it's great. But we're here to talk a little bit more about Extreme Rules and our enjoyment or lack thereof of that. Say what?
I'm going to segue off that point.
Okay, go for it.
Adam Eaton and I were talking, and I think it was in one of the wrestling groups. If not,
first of all, I'm so sorry you had to talk to that. I'm sorry you had to talk to that guy. That must be really hard.
I mean, it's not the highlight of my life. I mean, you know,
almost as hard as getting through the first hour of an Impact. Everyone drink.
Ooh. Right now they're talking about. There's so many wrestling companies right now. There's so many people getting deals. Chikara, there's Lucha Underground, TNA, if you can really call that a company. GFW,
ROH, New Japan.
New Japan. New Japan really doesn't have an American market yet, even though they're trying.
It's getting one though. I know that they're trying to bring it to America.
I know that. I didn't know if they were confirmed yet or not. But even they're trying to get here, and it brings us to this pay-per-view of WWE is one of the most humiliating times, as the lowest times and humiliating to me as a fan of the product, because there's just everything is terrible right now. There's no way you can say watch a 3-hour Raw and go, oh, that was really well spent. If majority of your Raw experience is the fast forward button, it's embarrassing. And
3 hours is tough. 3 hours is real hard.
Some of these matches and the storylines going into them that we'll see for Extreme Rules, I'm gonna have more validity to that statement of why I think this is ridiculous to call yourself a wrestling company. I mean, but let's just go into it. Let's just jump right into Extreme Rules because I'm gonna get hot.
Don't need to get hot about it. But I will say that the company does have one shining light that we do talk about sometimes, and that shining light, in my opinion, is NXT.
Yes.
So as long as you focus on that, you're good, which is what I try to do. But in order to watch the stuff like the pay-per-views and everything else, you got to unfortunately watch some of the Raws in there or the SmackDowns. And they haven't been all that stellar coming out of WrestleMania. So we'll see what happens.
And I don't even watch SmackDown. I don't remember the last time I've tuned into a SmackDown. Ever since brand extension was over, pretty much, I've watched a handful.
Yeah.
But let's move in to wrestling or Extreme Rules finally after that big long thing, and let's talk about the pre-show match, which should just be the tag team, or for the tag team titles, they're basically always going to be relegated to pre-show now, which is just one of the many tools that WWE is just taking a complete crap on right now. What are your thoughts on this match?
I believe it is New Day versus Cesaro and Tyson Kidd, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah, I should go into that. It's Tyson Kidd and Cesaro versus the New Day.
First of all, I want to say that I wish the WWE would pull the trigger and let them go by the name that they refer to themselves on Twitter, which is the Brass Ring Club, which I think is fantastic. Nice little send up there. Tyson Kidd and Cesaro refer to themselves as the Brass Ring Club, which if you think about it is hysterical. Yeah. I'm okay with this match. I'm sad it's on the pre-show because, again, tag team wrestling, it's starting to make more of a comeback because there are more teams involved. But as we're seeing with Give Divas a chance at everything like that, they're not going to get much of a chance if they don't have the airtime, if they don't have the time to perform as much as they want to. I thought that the Fatal 4-Way stole the show at WrestleMania, and I'm glad that two of the teams that were responsible for that are a part of this contest and are a part of what we're talking about. I think that it's smart to put the New Day against Kidd and Cesaro in Chicago because any city that's going to because Kidd the New Day is working on a slow burn heel turn right now, which I think is the right move for them at this point. Slow burn being the operative term. And Any if you Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, especially Cesaro, is going to get cheered immensely in a town like Chicago, in a very wrestling fan, and I hate to use this term, but smart heavy town like Chicago. They have a fan base that is very up on what's going on, very independently minded too. So they and both in their spirit and in the kinds of wrestling they watch. So to do that and not to feed like the Lucha Dragons or a team that is trying to gain traction as a babyface team to them is a smart move, because they're just going to get drowned out by "Let's Go Cesaro" chants and swing chants and everything like that. That being said, I'm happy that it's here. I haven't really been watching Raw, I'll say that much, but I do know that there is that slow burn heel turn going for them, and it'll be nice to see how they do it and how they pick it up with that. And it's something that I think fans have been wanting, at least a direction for the New Day. I talked about it on the podcast I did with Babs Chikara, that the New Day they're all three great performers, but fans don't care about them because who likes people who are happy all the time? Nobody. That's an unrealistic thing, and people can't relate to it. So the fact that they're at least trying something to gain some semblance of heat, I think, is great. I think it's a cool thing, and of course, I don't see them losing. My prediction is going to be that Kid and Cesaro, the Brass Ring Club, take this one, and because they're still working, they're still the workhorses of the tag team division. They're not going to lose anytime soon until they can build up a credible source for them. Maybe it's the Usos in 6 months when Jay heals up. Maybe it's the Lucha Dragons in a few pay-per-views. But unless you build up that really credible source, it's not going to happen. So since they're still working on something with the New Day, I don't see it happening, and I'm just excited. I know it's going to be a good match.
Why do you think the New Day is in a slow burn right now?
I mean, I haven't really seen much of it, but I do know that they're at least acknowledging the reactions a little bit more and starting to get disgruntled by them and starting to do a little bit more cheap heelish things in the ring. And I don't know if they've officially turned yet, but I know that they're on the way.
This is a good point, because I have not watched Raw. I have not watched last Raw, and I kind of watched Raw 2 weeks ago, but I just didn't care.
Yeah.
I was mostly packing and just it was on in the background. I'm like, oh, hey, there's a match with Ziggler. Okay. But look up every once in a while. But I think the slow burn is something that they've needed to do for a while with the New Day.
Yeah.
Because for the longest time, they looked like they were just forcing them to try to get over his faces. And that was just the wrong move. Well, the New Day, both these teams are highly talented teams. I think these people will have a career in the WWE the next 5 years, easily.
Absolutely. Oh, without question.
What? Okay, without a question. I thought you said it.
Yeah, without question.
But what WWE is doing with this is just terrible. Their TV time is a joke. Their matches are pointless. The only thing good about this match is that they booked it relatively smart, like you said, in a Chicago town.
Yeah, that kind of
town. I could see potentially two heels leaving this, because I don't know how Tyson Kidd and Cesaro can remain heel in this crowd, and I don't know how the New Day is going to be a face, because they're going to get booed out of the building. The one problem I see is they need to have a match that's a little more action-packed in these two slots. So the crowd can, they wear the crowd out, so they're not just bogged down by CM Punk, AJ Lee chants.
Yeah, so they really, and these are two teams to do it too, to bring that sense of action. We saw it at WrestleMania. We've seen it every time they've gotten in the ring. They know how to do it. And I think that they'll be I think that part, I'm not worried about the in-ring performance of that. I think they'll be fine.
Okay, I mean, I think the in-ring is going to be great, and it's going to be above our expectations. But the storyline going in is terrible. It's embarrassing.
It's just we don't like it when you guys don't clap with us. Well, at least they're acknowledging it though. But we're getting somewhere. Maybe, I mean, what we saw when the first group first happened, and I'm not talking about in December when we got the New Day, but when we got Xavier Woods in a white suit talking about taking things in the summer, I was pumped. I was ready to go.
Yeah,
and then they went away and came back as fun-loving people who enjoy gospel music, which is okay. I mean, it looked like they were having a really good time with it, and I'm sure that they were. I'm sure that, I mean, looking at Big E come down the ring and just kind of shake a chimney sometimes, it's hysterical because he's loving what he's doing, and he looks like he's having a ball. They all look like they're having a ball. It's just a shame that the direction that they're going in, the fact that they are, or that they fans can't relate to them, because who can relate to someone who's happy all the time? But
I
it
think
is
that's
just one.
the biggest distinction right now. These guys are great and they're brilliant in this gimmick, but WWE
Mhm.
is just knocking them out at the knees every time they get somewhere.
Yeah,
They're making them look
absolutely.
like comedic jobbers when really they're one of the most brilliant teams and minds on your roster right now because
Absolutely.
they are
Absolutely.
having fun.
Yeah, they're having a great time with this thing, and you see it every time. I mean, I have to say, I'm a big fan of Big E Langston's preacher voice, and when he gets into, I haven't used the term Langston in like 6 months. I apologize, WWE. There we go. Don't sue me. But I just enjoy whenever he breaks that out and whenever they break that out because they look like they're having a ball with this gimmick, and fans aren't on board because they have no reason to be.
Exactly.
That's the tough part. And now they're giving them they're booing them because they're not. But now they're trying and starting to give them a reason for those boos. So hopefully we can get back to them trying to take things and see
I
where that
agree.
goes.
And it's
Hmm.
just the WWE mentality of hot and cold
Yeah.
immediately on pushing a tag team division, pushing
Hmm.
people amongst that tag team division. I mean, the last tag
Sure.
team like this that we've seen where they're just having fun, really good at the gimmick is Primetime Players.
Yes. They're
And
great.
give me all the heat you want, but coming out was the worst thing Darren Young could have done because for the business wise, because WWE dropped the ball
Mm.
instead of saying, "Okay, cool, that really doesn't matter. Let's just continue doing the storyline we're doing, and you guys can be over like Rover in 2 3 months."
Hmm.
They broke the tag team up because felt they could make more money in a singles run. Those guys do not have a singles run in them. As much as I love Titus O'Neil, he is
Yeah.
not a singles performer.
No, he
Primetime
needs
players are
somebody with
probably the
him.
height of their career, and to sit there and make a storyline out of coming out, WWE just screwed the pooch. I guess is the best way to
Yeah.
do it.
It's unfortunate, but it's true that there are acts that there are things that are right there, and that you just all you have to do is push the button and it's ready to go.
Mhm.
And they haven't been able to do that, and hopefully that can be corrected in some way soon enough. But we'll see. I think we spent enough time on this match.
Yeah.
Jesus, what's next on the card?
But I'm just going down the list from Wikipedia, so we're not
Yeah,
like this is how the show is going to be billed,
of
obviously.
course. No
But
one ever
let's
knows until
go.
it gets there.
Exactly. Let's go with Seth Rollins, the champion, versus Randy Orton.
Okay. I again haven't really been watching. I've just been seeing kind of what's going on, but I believe this is a steel cage match with the RKO band, and Kane is the special guest enforcer or keeper of the gate, as it were,
Yes.
in the match. Uh, I haven't seen this many stipulations in a match since the Three Stages of Hell match, and even those were spaced out. Pretty soon on the pre-show, they're going to say this is also a blindfold match with one hand tying your head behind your back, and you have to cook 5 meals with a secret ingredient in an hour. So this is I don't know what they're doing. They are overloading this match, and I don't know why they are, because you have two great talents like Orton and Rollins with a pre-made story, and they've been tapping into the story somewhat. I think of I beat you at WrestleMania. I deserve a title shot. And then I get my title shot. Oh, but I'm going to be a sneaky bastard heel and say, oh, wait, you have a title shot? Okay, you can't use the move that you beat me with at WrestleMania. I think that's perfect. And I think, oh, well, if you're going to, and then you stack the ante and say, okay, well, if you're going to take away my biggest weapon, I'm going to put us in a cage. And
Yeah.
so I think that part worked. They should have stopped there. Bringing Kane into it, I don't see the reason for it. I don't see why bringing Kane to it unless it's going to further something else. Unless this is kind of signaling the end of his career, I don't know. Not that I want him to retire because I think he's a good spot, but I don't. He doesn't need to be involved in something of this magnitude where he is right now. There's a big thing, and I listened to gentleman by the name of Sam Roberts. Many people know who he is. He has his own wrestling podcast, talked about how the Big Show and Kane do not need to be in the position where they are right now, and I kind of agree with him because they're getting a little up there, and their work rate's not really justifying their spot. So we'll see what comes out of that. I think the stipulations could have ended with the steel cage, but I know this is going to be a good match. I know everything's going to be just fine. I don't think Rollins is losing. I think that there's more steam in him as a chicken crap heel champion, and I think he'll come out of this. Somebody's going to Kane might get involved, but I think he'll overcome it in some way. So we'll see what happens with that.
Did you hear the news on Rollins about his finisher?
Apparently, the curb stomp has been banned, which I think is very strange.
Which is also, just one more element to this match. Now, his finisher is also banned.
Mm-hmm. Not in storyline, but in real life.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I agree with that because the curb stomp was such a good move for his character. Of this move that the guy's trying to get up, he's trying to fight. No, I'm just gonna kick him while he's down, literally, and stop him down, and then get a quick pin count and leave before he knows what's going on. I thought it was I thought it added a lot to his character. I'm seeing this kind of falling DDT, single arm DDT that he's been doing. That kind of is kind of similar to that, but with less foot on the neck. So I could see why they were okay with that, but I think that it's a move that he's been doing safely for a year. So I don't see why or what the reasoning is about that or what was going on. There's things that I probably don't know about. Somebody complained. I don't know. We don't know these things, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what sort of weapons they'll use in the cage and how much the cage will actually come into play.
Yeah, I'm really upset about the whole curb stomp being basically banned, but we'll see how it plays out. I want to reserve my judgment. I don't want to immediately jump all over it, but right now I'm not happy.
Sure.
As far as this match goes, the one element I think we're only missing now between the secret ingredient and all that is it's going to be an empty arena as well.
Oh, geez.
So they're just going to put monitors around the arena and watch the fans watch.
Are you saying that because everyone will have left because of other stinkers of matches that are probably going to happen during this pay-per-view?
No, I was just thinking of terrible ideas to pile on.
Yeah. Good point. It's gonna be a Ring of Fire empty arena forklift match on a scaffold.
On a scaffold. Oh God! it's just there's so many stipulations to this match that it's just why do I care? This is the biggest match I have a problem with on the card because leaving WrestleMania, I thought I was gonna get a triple threat match between Roman, Brock Lesnar, and Rollins.
Nah.
Because that would have sold the
card. I would have loved one.
I'm like, that was a good storyline you can carry out for another couple weeks. And then, eliminate Brock Lesnar, give him a little bit of rub, depending on where you want him to go from here. Sell out that show, and I'm all excited. I was going to buy tickets that night. That following Raw, I was glad as hell I didn't. Because
when they suspended Brock,
and you got an idea of where they were going to go for storyline wise for this pay-per-view, I was just flabbergasted with how much momentum you could have going into a show, and then, like I always say, cut you out at the knees, and all of a sudden your show is a joke.
Yep, it's unfortunate.
I think it's obvious that Rollins is going to walk out because he can't lose the title again. Or this soon.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on because there's so much wrong with this match. It's so ridiculous. I don't care.
What it could have been, what it is. We'll see what happens. The talent in the ring is going to be great, but just getting to this point is not something that neither Jesus and I really care for.
So, speaking of not really caring for it, let's go to the Russian chain match between John Cena versus Rusev for the U.S. title.
Yeah, the rubber match.
First on this one, it is the rubber match between them. And what the fuck were they thinking when they booked this match? Like honestly, I try not to swear, but I just want the sign of who booked this shit. Because what in the hell who thought, hey, let's do a chain match? No, no, no. Let's make it a Russian chain match. As if it freaking matters. Like, I hate chain matches. Why not just do a strap match? Why not do something fun? Not just a stupid chain. Unless we get, old school John Cena Thugonomics chain gang going, I don't care about this match. It is just ridiculous. It is stupid. And I feel like it's just a rubber match to finally blow off this feud because it's not going to go anywhere now.
Yeah.
Cena's going to
Here's
walk
my
out, but go on.
Cena will win this match, but here are my thoughts. Number one, it's a chain match because the Yapapai Indian strap match was already done. And number two, are you? Did that one go? I hope that one didn't go over your head. Come on.
I'm just really mad you brought that up.
Come on, brother. It's a Yapapai Indian strap match. Number one. Oh, God. But that isn't taken. Number two, I mean, yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, it could be a good strap match. I think the chain adds different elements. I know it's weird with the PG sort of era because the last good chain match I remember was the dog collar match between Valentine and Piper at Starrcade 83, where they beat the holy hell out of each other. And go back on the network and watch that because apparently it's fantastic. One of the better matches from that Starrcade, which I believe featured Flair and Rhodes, one of their great matches too. And the fact that the dog collar match is the one that's most talked about really speaks to it. So maybe they're trying for that, but I don't know if you can accomplish what they did in the PG era, so I doubt it. But it is an odd gimmick. It's something that I think would be interesting to see because you've got this raw power of Rusev, and he's connected to someone with the resolve of Cena, and they're connected to each other. I'm wondering where they're going to be connected. I'm wondering if it's going to be a wrist or a collar. If it's a collar, I'm going to be into it. If it's a wrist, I won't be as into it because the collar I think just adds a little bit more.
My mind went to a little not PG, and when you asked where it was going to be connected.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. Don't do that. As long as they're not connected at the ass, that would be weird. That wouldn't be fun.
Did they actually say they were going to be connected though?
I mean, that's what a chain match is.
But is it going to be like? I was thinking
like the biker chain match.
Yeah.
I'm hoping not. I think it is going to be like a strap match with a chain. That's what my thought is. I could be completely wrong. If I am wrong, then it is as dumb as you say it is.
I thought it was just like the chain is legal and you can use that, but everything else is just a normal match. Like basically eliminating the pole,
No, I think this is going to be like a strap. I have a feeling it's a strap match with a chain.
But even with a chain, you can't do as much as you could with a strap.
Yeah, in the PG era. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah. But I mean, even still, like wrapping a person up and stuff, you could have a higher chance of hurting them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the chains are hurt. It's just it's a weird concept. If it's the way you think it is, I'm not going to like it as much the way I think it is. I'll probably enjoy some of it just to see where it goes. We'll see what happens with this. I mean, it is a good. I'm glad they're blowing off the feud because that gives something else. I like what they're doing with the U.S. title, having the open challenges. I think that's cool. I think maybe for the next pay-per-view, I'd like to see an open challenge at the pay-per-view and see what happens.
I agree.
I think that would be an interesting concept is to keep that going for the pay-per-view, not give him a legitimate opponent, not advertise an opponent, and have someone like a Neville or another Dean Ambrose or, I don't know, someone returning or bring Rhino up from NXT and have that happen. I don't know. Just something interesting. Or have Carlito come back and take it from him again. But whatever works. But for this match, not as excited as I could be. Again, it's going to be good in the ring because the match at WrestleMania, we know that these end at Fastlane. We know these two guys can go together. They have chemistry. It is there. That's going to be fine. How the gimmick, how the chain plays in, whether it's going to be like a strap match or whether it's going to be like the biker chain match from what was it, No Mercy 2002 or something like that.
I don't even
That's
know.
going to be interesting. Then we'll see what happens.
Yes.
But we'll see.
I'm hoping it's a strap match because it would actually be interesting, but a loose
Mhm.
chain around the ring, just
Yeah,
don't.
I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with the loose chain around the ring because then why wouldn't you just make it like a chair or a kendo stick or a table or something like that?
Yeah, just make it a tables match.
Yeah, exactly. Just do something.
Something a little more
Make it a
simple.
weapon that actually makes sense.
Okay,
When I heard Russian chain, I thought strap. So we'll see what happens.
why not just make it a tank match? Because it was so cool watching Rusev
It
come out
was
of the
so
tank.
cool. Just have them joust with tanks on the
And,
entrance ramp. That would be great.
and instead of like throwing them into an ambulance, you gotta like stuff them down into a tank and drive away.
Mhm.
Though I guess that
Yep.
wouldn't really matter, wouldn't really work because then they would overpower you with a tank. But it's not
And
gonna do
then they have
that.
a tank. Then they have a tank. You don't
Dang.
want to give them a tank. That's not how this works. Don't give them a tank, Jesus.
I know we'll have to stuff them in a limo and just have they drive off and get blown up by the tank, like Vince
Yep,
McMahon in his limo.
indeed.
Okay, well let's move on to something that will cheer me up a little bit. Daniel Bryan versus Bad News Barrett in a singles match for the Intercontinental title.
All right. This one will cheer us up because it's got two people that we both enjoy. Danny Bride and Bad News Barrett, obviously. I'm hoping that it happens. It's been touch and go with Daniel Bryan's health for a while, but I think the company's been taking a lot of precautions in order to make sure that he is healthy for this match. They've kept him off TV, they've kept him off the road, they've kept him very limited to make sure that they've given him tests, they're making sure that he's healthy and ready to go for this match. And I doubt that Bryan would want it any other way because, of course, he wants to perform. He wants to do this stuff. We saw how much it hurt him to be away for pretty much 3/4 of the year last year. So, and right when another title push was happening for him. So the fact that it could happen twice is very disconcerting, and I'm glad that they are taking the precautions to make sure it doesn't. So if this match goes off, which I think it will, I hope it will, I can see this is going to be a great match. This is going to be very interesting. We'll see. Also, one thing to factor in is that if he does come back, how's he going to take it? Is he going to go full on Bryan as we know, or is he going to be a little bit more gingerly with it because of all the things with his physical health? So we'll see what happens with that. But Barrett is doing a great job with everything. I think it's good. My deal about Barrett is I wish he would give us bad news again. I mean, it's his name. WWE make him give us bad news again because it's his name. I don't think I need to say that it's in his name enough to know why you guys dropped the ball. I mean, if the BNZ is actually a thing that happens, I'm okay with that. But let's give him a gimmick again. Otherwise, he's just another dude. And I don't
Just
want him to be
another
just
dude
another
on the
dude. He's
roster.
bad news. He's bad news effing Barrett. And he pulls a microphone out of his knee pad and tells us why we suck. And it's wonderful. So this is going to be a great match. It's interesting. Hopefully, I think Barrett will take care of him if it does come down to that. If there is that kind of concern. And as far as the prediction goes, Bryan doesn't leave this title. I don't think it's time yet for Daniel Bryan to lose. So we'll see what happens with this match. And it's interesting that I'm pretty sure that of all the matches, this is the one that cheers you up the most. And it's interesting that this was the one without a gimmick, without an extreme gimmick.
Yeah, not every match needs a gimmick. I get it, it's
Mm-hmm.
extreme rules and all that stuff, but not everything needs a gimmick. Like
Mm-hmm.
Rusev and Cena would have been great without a gimmick, but the strap match just makes it, unbearable to watch because even with the strap match, I just think of this as I said it is we're gonna get the 5 minute spot where nobody wants to hook up into the chain. It's like it's been done before. You two want to fight. Why would you? You
Mm-hmm.
better not do that spot where you like I don't want
We'll
to
see
get
what
hooked
happens.
up. Check them. Oh, it's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But this match, both competitors have had a solid storyline. They're great in the ring, and WWE has given us enough and hasn't gone overboard with it.
Mm-hmm.
One thing we have terrible, or one of the terrible things we have from 3 hour Raws is that they go overboard. Sometimes less is more.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
this feels like one of those things. Um, even though Daniel Bryan's been out on injury, and as I said to you, this adds more validity to Punk's comments of rushing you back early just so they can make money out of you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's in this case, Daniel Bryan's now starting to show signs of hurting again. I know he wanted to get back. I don't blame him. Because it was WrestleMania season, but we're seeing
Yeah.
the effects of it. But I don't see him coming out as champion. I think WWE is going to be cautious and strap Barrett so that title can
Interesting.
be back on TV.
Mm. I don't know. I could see them going the other way, having Brian win and make it more of an attraction. Since their biggest attraction is now indefinitely suspended, having the Intercontinental title only defended when Brian is ready to go adds a little bit more mystique to it. It's the same sort of thing as it's kind of the reverse of the open challenge, but it does the same thing. Instead of, okay, anyone who wants a shot can come in, it's, okay, when I'm ready, you can have your shot. So I can see them going both ways with it.
I don't see what you see.
You'd see some weird things if you saw what I saw. I've been places, man.
I've been everywhere, man.
I've been to Ponto Donor back, and there's some weird stuff. Just Ultimate Warrior's face paint everywhere. It's crazy.
God.
I went off. I'm sorry. Let's try to find the rails again.
Let's find the rails so I can go off them with our next match. Dolph Ziggler versus Sheamus for a Kiss Me Arse match.
Can I?
Just go. Yeah.
Why? For the love of all that is holy, for the love of Bruno Sammartino, why are you doing this? It's just you have your best, probably one of your top workhorses in the company, someone who will sell and show off and be the show stealer every single night that you want him to. Even the nights you don't want him to, he'll still do it because that's what he does. Then you bring back a performer who's been out on injury and give him a completely new thing that is just a breath of fresh air to him, because I think heel Sheamus is operating at a very high level right now. I think he's doing some good stuff. The mohawk, and the braided beard, yes, it looks stupid, but it's supposed to look stupid, people. That's the point. And the fact that he's back and he's picking on the little people or the smaller guys, and he's going after the underdogs and really proving himself, going back to that kind of the smarmy character that he was back in 09, 2010, just with a little bit more attitude, if you can believe that, is great. I'm a big fan of that. So you have these two elements that are perfect for each other in a match, and you throw in this, since you said the press, I got this fucking awful scenario of just how this is just shitty. This is the one that I'm the most upset about, because they have these two guys who are trying to find themselves again. Dolph Ziggler is hitting his stride. Sheamus now has a breath of fresh air to work off of, and you give him a kiss my ass match. I'm not even going to do them the benefit of the doubt to even put the Irish in it. I'm not even going to do that, because that's just, it makes it even more stupid. Because this is just, why they're not Rikishi sized. I love Rikishi, so that doesn't make it work. They're not Vince McMahon, and there's no club to join. I don't understand that. That's not in there. So why are you having this match, and why are you having it at Extreme Rules? Why are you giving someone who is being billed as a legit badass who will bro kick anyone in the face this kind of comedy gimmick? Give him the tables match. Give him an I Quit match. Give him a street fight. Do something with them. And give them something else, anything other than this, because this isn't, as much as I like watching these two perform, this is not a match I want to see them perform in at all.
And
I don't even know where. Sorry, I had to go. I'm sorry if I took the wind out of your sails there, Jesus, but I just had to do that.
That is exactly my opinion on this. Just what the fuck were they thinking? I mean, there's so much you can do with this, and you give us this. Like, two guys that are easily the future of this company. There's so much they can do.
Former champions,
former champions, so much they can do in the ring, and for the company to elevate them to bring us out of this slump that they're in, and they give him this. And then they wonder. You have Vince McMahon on on Stone Cold's podcast saying talent isn't reaching for that brass ring.
Well, when they do reach for him, you reward them with shit.
Yeah.
So that's the problem.
It's just like, oh,
That's the problem.
Oh,
I don't even know the rationale for doing it in storyline. I didn't hear Sheamus's promo. I don't know why this is happening. It's amazing to.
Oh, go on.
No, go ahead if you know the answer.
They just want to help get over this Irish gimmick, and I'm guessing kind of slowly segue him back maybe to the more Irish character that worked. And the problem is Sheamus's gimmick is great. They just need to unbraid that beard.
I don't mind I actually don't mind the braided beard. I think it works for him.
I don't think it does at all because it's too alienating. I think he looks, if you want him to be a heel, you don't want him to look like a bitch. You want him to look dominating. Sheamus was always dominant in the ring. He always had a great look. Give him a beard, have him the more gnarly Rory gimmick. Or Robbie gimmick, sorry.
Robbie. I'm Robbie, the Highlanders. I haven't thought about them in a long time.
But their look was great. You want to push, an Irish, Scottish, sorry people across the pond, but essentially the same type of gimmick.
No, don't go there.
Stuff. I have two Scottish friends, and I just make fun of them all the time. Side note. So
okay. Well, there you go.
But
either way,
I mean, there's no
it's just
point.
Upsetting.
You're just killing somebody's momentum here. And
that's all it is. Whoever has to kiss the butt is going to just lose a ton. There's only one way to come out of this, and that's having everyone make fun of him for kissing somebody's ass. And that's the only thing that can happen with this. And I am not happy with it being either of these two guys who are trying to find themselves again after being kind of in the mid-card land for a long time. The fact that they have this match is great, but the fact that it's a kiss my ass match, not a fan. Not a fan at all. This is not who knows, it could be freaking amazing like the WLC match was, but it's not gonna be anywhere near what's going on. I mean, WLC did not have any expectations, and I thought they did okay. But this is not going to do that.
The WLC was good. I mean,
say what?
I almost cut your mic for just saying the WLC was good and finishing the show.
I didn't think it was that bad. I thought and having Micro Cole and Jerry Smaller call the match, I thought was hysterical. If you're going to go there, but I mean, give Hornswoggle and Torito a little bit of credit. They're just trying to wrestle, so I'm okay with that. But I mean, it was stupid, but it wasn't as stupid as it could have been. This one's going to be just every bit as stupid as it can be, and that's not something I'm ready to go with. I'm going to be watching this match with my arms folded, and it's going to be up to them to make me unfold my arms, and I don't think they're going to be.
I'm not a big proponent of bragging about drinking, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be drinking for this pay-per-view to make it tolerable, and I hope this is later on in the show so I can just enjoy the match.
Drink every time it sucks.
Yes. Oh, we're going to TNA the Extreme Rules pay-per-view.
Drink.
Drink.
There you go.
I mean,
all of our fans that are playing along.
This show or this pay-per-view is something I expect from TNA, essentially. Like terrible gimmicks, just kind of really no direction for storyline wise. This is something TNA would do back in 2012.
Yep. It's unfortunate, but we'll see what happens coming out of this. Okay. And let's see. I don't want to hang on this too much longer because otherwise I'm going to get angry and start throwing things. And then I got a lot of nice stuff in my apartment. I don't want to throw things in the shack of good stuff.
We're moving on to the other singles match of the card, which I'm quite surprised about. I would love to have seen this match be more of a gimmick because we've only seen nothing but singles matches from the Divas division. It'd be nice to see what Paige could earn. Oh, yeah, Paige is gone. Sorry, Naomi. I'd like to see some more development from her.
Yeah.
kind of give Nikki and her a little bit more depth to their characters, and maybe throw in a chair or something. Watch watch Naomi get that or mean streak or something. I don't know. I mean, I'm just so sick of singles matches with divas. I want something a little bit of spice.
Remember the breath of fresh air when Trish and Victoria had the hardcore match?
Oh, that was great.
Or I don't remember, but there were some people in a Diva Steel Cage match. Was it Lita and somebody? Can't remember who it was, but those were two great matches, and that's the kind of showcase. We're getting back. Some people might not agree with me, but I think we're getting to a second Divas Renaissance in that way with some of the talent that we have, especially that's coming up, that we might be able to see some gimmicks and stuff like that come through. We'll see what this Divas match. The interesting thing about the Divas, about this particular match, is that you have Naomi fresh off of a heel turn, or something similar to that, a reawakening of a mean streak, if you will, which can make her a heel but might not, considering that her opponent is probably the top heel in the Divas division, Nikki Bella. So who comes out as the face? Who comes out at the heel? This is a heel-heel match that's going to be hard. People are probably going to go for Naomi anyway because it's Chicago. And we'll see what happens with this one. I'm happy Naomi's finally getting her shot. I happen to be a big fan of hers. I think that's the work that she has done and is doing is fantastic in the Divas roster. I think that she is second only, I think, to like a Natty for being underrated in that company and for the women. Because of Natalya, who's probably the most underrated person or performer in the Divas division right now, and I would put Naomi as a second until this moment, now that she has her shot, which I think is fantastic and it's great. I could see that this is the match. I can see this being the one title change that I'm predicting. I can see Naomi coming out with this and dethroning the Bellas.
I do think that this is Naomi's time to shine. There's a lot of pressure on her, and I think she has the ability to deliver.
Absolutely.
I'm excited for this match. I'm not going into it. I'm just like, eh. But the more I think about it, the more I really think this could be a show stealer.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was Brie and Naomi, this could have the potential to be a match of the night. But
yeah,
for Divas,
with those two.
But with Nikki, she's decent. I would love to see a little bit more gimmick heavy match, like I said, something different.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna be watching this because there's a lot of talent in the Divas division. There's just not a lot of confidence from the office.
Which is unfortunate because then they're just really missing the boat again because there's something going on in this division. There is a lot of talent. And there's a lot of talent waiting in the wings too.
Yes.
Just look on NXT and see how awesome Charlotte and Bayley and Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch all are, and even Emma, who's been floating down there more and more.
I agree with that, minus Becky Lynch, but we can.
She's getting there. It's working. I like her stuff. I think it's all right. Stop it.
You're entitled to be wrong.
You're entitled to be wrong as well.
You think Naomi is walking out of here?
I do. I do think Naomi's coming out with the title. I think I heard a really interesting scenario. I read a Bleacher Report article that had like a armchair booking for this match where that kind of executes a full-on double turn almost and has Naomi basically brutalize both Bellas and make them look super sympathetic and then take the title away.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I can see that scenario happening. I hope it does. It's interesting to see a heel Naomi. I don't think she's ever been a heel, at least while she was active on camera, dating back all the way to NXT.
I'm trying to think. I know she had shades of it, but I don't think they ever pulled the trigger on it.
I don't think they ever did this. So to see her kind of develop this mean streak, as everyone's calling it, is something to behold. And I think that it's adding to it, especially because she got an interesting wrestling style too. Doesn't really fit a heel because she is so high flying and she has a lot of flashy moves. So to see her kind of use those as a heel, I think would be very interesting.
And I think she has the ability to add another dimension to that character.
Mm-hmm.
You sold me on Naomi, but
cool.
Who did you have winning the Kiss Me Arse match?
Oh, geez. You're going to make me go back to that one, so I have to pick a winner.
Yeah.
Just to further the storyline, probably Sheamus.
Okay.
As much as I'd like Ziggler to win, but I can see Sheamus winning too. I don't really care. Honestly, I don't.
I just want to get you on camera to watch you squirm.
I want to care because these people are so good. Ziggler and Sheamus are two of my favorites, especially Ziggler.
Nobody
And,
wins.
and nobody wins. The fans don't win. Vince McMahon thinks he wins. That's what's happening. Kevin Dunn or whoever booked this shit. I don't know.
Oh,
Somebody doesn't win. And it's definitely us.
and that's when I could just see Vince McMahon going, not to go back to it, but he was like, "Oh, that's a really great idea. Let's go with it."
That's a great idea. Everyone liked to kiss my ass. Remember when I did it for 5 years? Damn it. It was wonderful. Best ratings ever.
Maybe we can get freaking Dolph to bark like a dog. Dog Ziggler.
Oh, jeez. Don't. That just made me sad. I just got sad. Don't make me
Okay,
sad.
so how about that last man standing match between Roman Reigns and Big Show?
Again, not too sure why this one is happening either. I like that Roman Reigns is having something to do following that. I like the direction they've kind of put in there. Like he's trying to get back at the title. He's the one that actually took the pinfall in the championship match. So let's see what happens there. And they had this feud going kind of toward the beginning of the year, before WrestleMania, before Fastlane. This was the feud that was happening. It was a Roman Reigns Big Show deal. And I guess that they thought that there was still some steam left in it since Authority, since Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, whatever you want to say. I'm just ready for this feud to be done and we can move on. Is kind of where I am with this one, because I'm ready for all of it to kind of be over, be done with, and just kind of do something else with Roman Reigns that gets him moving back into the title picture in a good way. Oh, we have a special guest.
Yeah, my dog Emma, she heard us talking about Emma and decided to join the
Oh,
party.
there you go. Very nice. Is your dog attracted to Bubbles as well?
Yes.
Very good. Very good.
Did I tell you that we named her after Emma too?
I didn't know that.
Yes, we named her after Emma at her height of NXT.
That's awesome. Good for you guys.
It was
Good
a huge
for you.
fight with the wife, but I'm such a huge Emma fan, and to see her demise is just heartbreaking. That's a topic for another day. Let's go back to this.
I gave my opinion. I want to hear what you have to say. I know Roman Reigns is coming out of this one on top. There's really no reason for it to go any other way, and if it does, it's stupid. And I'm just ready for Roman Reigns to move on to bigger and more relevant things.
Yes, that's exactly my argument. Is this match is just to get him on a card and a payday, because this match is irrelevant. They just want to blow off some feud that everybody forgot about and to keep Reigns relevant. This match is stupid. I still maintain Big Show should have retired 3 years ago. He is just humiliating to watch in the ring now. He's a shell of what he used to be, especially watching his work on the network and how great of a wrestler he used to be.
Yeah.
I mean, find an off-camera storyline for him or something. Keep him with the company doing guest appearances, but he doesn't belong in that ring anymore. I'm always against people who say, you need to retire. Like the people for Flair saying, oh, you're 50, you need to retire. And then still puts together like 5 more years of amazing work. Even, I would say 10, but TNA. And I mean, but Big Show, you're wasting your time. You're just there for the money now. We all know it. You're not there because you think you can change the business. You're just there to collect a paycheck. It is obvious. And this match is just going to be one more thing of it. He's done everything he could in the business.
Now that he's finally won a battle royal in the WWE, so there you go.
Yep. It's just, I don't know what to say other than this match is just going to be slow.
Yeah, I'm not one to wish retirement, death, injury, Olsen twins on anybody, for that matter. I'm not a big fan of doing that. But to have the Big Show and Kane in the spots that they're in is just kind of baffling to me sometimes, because these are two guys that are definitely at the tail end and something else could have happened with Roman. I don't know. They could have built something up in 4 weeks. I'm not exactly sure. Could have been a number 1 contenders match between him and Ryback or something like that. I would love to see that. But the fact that Big Show has this spot, I'm not okay with, and I would not. It's not something I really want to have happen. So I really have no. I don't care about this match as much as I do like Roman Reigns, and I just think he deserves better, which is a shame because the Big Show at his peak was wonderful, but he stayed in the ring a little too long, unfortunately. And I think it's showing that he's not moving as well as he used to. I mean, he's a massive dude. He might be slowing down. His gigantism might be slowing him down finally after he outlived 3 to 5 doctor recommendations of when he should stop. But
Yeah.
it's getting to be that time.
It's the
It's
point
like
where
it's like when your favorite TV show hits a bad season and then keeps being on the air.
Big Show right now is The Simpsons. You're just
Uh,
making it for money. You haven't been relevant for years. You'll have a good spot here and there, but then everybody just goes back to, I'm ashamed I watched it.
mhm.
But in your prime, you were amazing. You were the show to watch.
Exactly, and that's what's upsetting. But we'll see. We'll see Reigns overcome this challenge as he does, and then we'll see him move on to get more involved with the title picture, which I think is where he needs to be.
Which is
He needs to
great
be in
choice.
that, hovering around that main event. I agree, and
He needs
the
to be in the
fans can be
orbit.
like, "Oh, yeah." The fans can be like, "Oh my God, he's not ready." I think after the showing at WrestleMania and the match he put on with Brock and later with Rollins, I hope it proves some people wrong and get some sympathy back on his side because I think that he can definitely do what he needs to do. He may not be ready, but he's close.
That's my whole argument is that he needs that babyface sympathy
Yeah.
to
He's
get
not
that
going to get it
title
from the
run.
Big Show because people are just going to hate on the Big Show for hating on the Big Show.
Mm-hmm.
The UK crowd chanted, "Please retire" at him
Not the UK. I
over
thought
and
that was
over and over again.
Post-Mania.
Post-Mania and the UK crowd. Every crowd has been chanting that at him these
The
days.
UK now did.
I believe so. They're all chanting it at him. It's not a place you want to be. It's to be getting chanted to hang up, and I'm not a fan of that. But in this case, it might be fairly accurate, which is kind of sad to say.
And I really think that Big Show is the first person I've ever just pleaded to retire because anybody who steps in that ring, I have the utmost respect for. But there comes a point
Absolutely.
where you're not doing anything for anyone anymore.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
So we both have Roman, and let's go to the match I'm actually surprisingly really looking forward to, despite the gimmick sucking. And for something I'll
Okay.
explain more in detail, Dean Ambrose versus Luke Harper in a Chicago street fight.
All right. Go ahead and take this one. I'll let you start it
I
off.
will. I've seen the Jericho versus CM Punk street fight in Chicago, and it was phenomenal. After their storyline with Punk's dad and all that stuff, like that was just a great match. I want to see
Yep.
hardcore wrestling return to the business. I want to see a little bit more than just okay, that's enough. I want to see them go full on. I want to see an actual street fight. I don't need blood all the time, as I've said too. You don't need blood to make a match, but you need some
Yeah.
brutality and viciousness. And we don't see
Do you
that in
think
PG anymore.
you think these are the two guys to do that?
These guys are insane. You've seen some of the stuff Dean Ambrose is willing to put his body through for the
Yep.
business in his
Yep.
past work on the indie scene. I think he
Yep.
needs to really elevate himself. Luke Harper I'm in love with his gimmick, even though I can't remember how many weeks ago I was beyond pissed off because both men had the exact same outfit on in the ring, jeans and a white t-shirt. And I was just like, who again books this shit? Who's in
Yeah.
Gorilla going, hey, whatever. Like,
That's funny.
um,
Although his is now. Although I will say Harper, Ambrose's shirt might have been white. Harper's was sweat stain color.
yeah, but you know,
That's a difference. But there you go.
I would like to see though these guys, hopefully in the number one spot, curtain jerk in this pay per view and getting the crowd hot. I want to see, give them 20 minutes and let them go hard.
I could see that happening, and I could see that being the top match. I'm excited for this match because I have an appreciation. I really enjoy both guys. Ambrose and Harper being actually, I didn't say it earlier at the top of the show, but these are also two former Chikara alum. Luke Harper had a big role in Chikara back in the day, and now to see him kind of at where he is wonderful. And I think that both gimmicks are great. I'm a big fan of the Lunatic Fringe character. I'm a fan of the wide 1,000-yard stare. I'm just going to do things and hurt people character. And I love a good Chicago street fight. I think this is going to be a great match. And my only problem with this match is that this sort of gimmick, this sort of brutality, this sort of what we're doing was not given to Ziggler and Sheamus. Because I think Ziggler and Sheamus have the better story for this kind of match.
I agree.
Going into it. I mean, yes, this is a good escalation after getting powerbombed through a ladder, which was, I cringed at that because it was just so well done and so just gross to watch. But for this kind of match that just kind of ended up on the card, and to have a better gimmick and a better showing than the gimmick that Ziggler and Sheamus have, I think is just kind of funny to me. Not saying that Ambrose and Harper don't deserve to have a street fight. I think they do. But there's a more of a story for the other one. All in all, whatever's going to happen, I think it's going to be a great match. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think the crowd's going to get very into it. I think it will. I hope it's going to be as brutal as you say it is. I'm going to say Dean Ambrose gets his first pay-per-view win at this match.
In singles competition.
His first singles PPV win is going to come from Ambrose. It's going to come from beating Harper. As long as another television monitor doesn't explode in his freaking face, then we're okay.
I forgot he hasn't won at all.
No. Hasn't won a single match since the Shield broke up.
That's terrible. Just terrible. Who books this shit? But as long as they bring the physicality to this match and not have that be, I want that to be the priority of this match, not in what we've seen in the PG era where that's just sort of the subplot.
Yeah, the priority is to hurt people.
Exactly,
and that's what it needs to be. That's exactly what needs to happen.
And as much as it kills me to say this, wrestling, hardcore wrestling, doesn't need wrestling in it. It's just some of the greatest moments of some of the greatest hardcore moments, like a ball pit. There was no, headlocks and chain wrestling and just the story told. It was just ridiculous. It was fun, and it was great television.
Fun time USA.
Was it WrestleMania 18? No. Where the title changed hand like 8 times backstage?
Oh, 16. Or no, it was 18.
It was
when Molly Holly hit Hurricane with a frying pan and pinned him.
Yeah. There was no actual real wrestling through that pay-per-view, but that was one of the best moments.
And you don't need to chain wrestle a guy to lock him in a dumpster and shove it off the stage, but that was one of the better moments of hardcore wrestling then too. So
I agree.
All these great things. And I mean, if you can incorporate that into it, like a powerbomb through a ladder or a spear through a flaming table, it'll work. But we'll see. I know, right? I just saw you have a happy flashback. But
that was in Chicago with Edge and.
Yes, it was.
There you go.
Yes, it was. So we'll see. Maybe, hopefully, for all of the shit that we've been giving this card, there are a few bright spots that we see, and I think that Dean Ambrose and Luke Harper will be one of them.
There are a few polished corn in this turd here.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. We'll see. And it's from some of the matches that have been given the least amount of build too, which I think is funny. All the crappy gimmicks have given the most attention.
But okay.
So we'll see what that means for the pay-per-view.
Let's finish up here. Do you want to sign off? Because there you have it for Extreme Rules.
Absolutely. We will be watching. We will be probably yelling at our iPads or TVs or however you watch this thing on the network. Yep. Perfect Madness Wrestling on Facebook. Chatting with the Chikara episode 2 off of the Chikara in 15 minutes. I'll plug that again for Babs. Go check that out and check out all the stuff that she does because she does a great job in really providing good resources for fans who are trying to get into the company. I think she does a good job and gives it to you, like the name says, in 15 minutes or less. Her podcasts, not like this one, actually hold true to their timeline. So she does a good job with it. That's it. That's all we got. Tune in next week when we discuss life, the universe, and everything. 42, whatever the answer to that is. And other stuff. Maybe I won't be here. Maybe Adam will be back. If he is, I won't care. So I don't know.
we hope that he's full strength. I hope that Adam Eaton can get off the injured reserve list and be a man. I'm going to pull a
Be a
Vince
man.
McMahon and try to pull him back from injury early.
Mm.
Z-Packs,
man,
remember
damn it.
people? Remember
Z-Packs.
to help us out on
Send
our
him your
Z-Packs.
Z-Packs. Send him your Z-Packs through give Eaton a Z-Pack at perfectmadness.com. That's not a real hashtag. That's not a real thing.
But be sure to follow us on Twitter at PMW Podcast or at PMW Podcast, I think.
Yep. That's it.
Follow us on Facebook and all that for the discussion. I will be live tweeting most likely during the pay-per-view because I need some entertainment, and be sure to interact with me and all my hilarity because who knows, a few brewskis might be imbibed. A little Steve Weiser here and there to make this.
You might be the most. You and Dean Ambrose might be the best parts of that pay-per-view. So we'll see what happens.
But yeah, there we have it for Extreme Rules 2015. I hope we didn't crap on it too much, that you guys are still interested in it. But thank you all for joining us, and take care.